Gallery railing, square baluster installation. Please read written instructions before beginning. Begin by measuring and marking post positions based on project layout, and ensure proper blocking is in place prior to mounting posts. Surface mount post installation. Position the post and mark the 4 hole locations. Drill 5/16" pilot holes at the marked locations into the decking and joist or reinforcement below. Fasten using the appropriate screws, ensuring that 5 inches of the screw threading is fully embedded into the support below the decking. Ensure the post is plumb. If not, adjust using composite shims or stainless steel washers. Finish by sliding the base trim down, covering the base flange. Level rail installation. Carefully measure the rail length needed to be cut. Divide the length in half and transfer that measurement to each end of the bottom rail. Carefully cut the rail to size. Mark the top rail and cut. Note that for clearance purposes, the top rail is pre-cut 3/4 inches shorter than the bottom rail. Assemble the railing by inserting balusters into each baluster hole in the top rail. Use a rubber mallet to tap them in place until fully seated into the top rail. Place upside down on the box and insert balusters into the bottom rail starting at one end, tapping with a rubber mallet to secure balusters in place. Install support block connector using number 10 by 1 inch self-drilling screw to the underside of the bottom rail. Slide bottom brackets with screw holes down and counterbore holes facing toward the balusters over each end of the bottom rail. Slide bracket covers at least 3 to 4 inches inward over each end of the top rail. A small piece of tape may be needed to hold the bracket covers in place. Place a piece of masking tape on posts. Measure 3 inches down from the top of the post and mark a level horizontal line. If using the post drilling and rail installation tool, hold tool flush with the top of the post and mark the holes labeled level. Align screw holes in the saddle bracket on the horizontal line, ensuring the brackets centered on the post, and mark the screw locations. Repeat the process at the other end and attach both saddle brackets pre-drilling to the marked locations and fastening with number 10 by 1 inch self-drilling screws. Set the rail assembly into the saddle brackets, letting the bottom rail hang freely between the posts. Check for level. Carefully measure the distance from the underside of the bottom rail to the floor at the support block connector locations. Cut support block material to that dimension. Remove the rail assembly from the saddle brackets. Slip the support block or blocks over the support block connectors. Slide the rail back in place, making sure that the rail is level. Apply adhesive tab to the flat top surface of the top rail near the post. Remove the tape and slide the bracket cover to interlock with the flange on the saddle bracket. If needed, tap the edge of the cover using a block of wood and hammer to engage the slide cover. Screw number 10 by 1 inch self-drilling screws into the top rail from the underside of each saddle bracket through the provided locating hole to securely fasten the rail. Slide and hold the bottom bracket firmly against the post or wall and secure the bracket with number 10 by 1 inch self-drilling screws. Install post cap by setting in place and tapping lightly with a rubber mallet. Horizontal adjustable bracket installation. Install posts as previously described. Place a piece of masking tape on top of post. Measure 2 5/8 inches down and mark a level horizontal line on the tape to indicate upper horizontal adjustable bracket center line. Measure 1 inch both left and right of the center line and make a mark on the horizontal line at each location. If using the post drilling rail installation tool, hold tool flush with the top of the post and drill pilot holes at the holes labeled horizontal adjustable. To locate the bottom adjustable center line, measure 35 3/8 inch from the top of the post for 36-inch systems or 41 3/8 inch for 42-inch high systems. Mark holes 1 inch to the left or right of the center line. Pre-drill holes at the marked location for the bottom brackets. Use the painted head screws provided to install both top and bottom bracket assemblies to the post. Note that the lower bottom adjustable bracket assembly is installed with the screw holes facing upward. Continue installation using the same method used for previous level rail installation to complete. Level rail hardware that is included with the level rail kit attaches directly to the horizontal adjustable brackets. For horizontal adjustable installations, the bottom bracket is installed with the screw holes facing upward. Stair rail installation. Determine the location and position of the upper and lower post based on the project layout. Lay the bottom rail along the nose of the stairs. At top post, measure up, ensuring there is a minimum of 35.5 inches for the 36-inch rail height, or 41.5 inches for the 42-inch rail height. Repeat for the bottom post. For railing mounted 36 inches high, use a 44-inch post at the bottom of the stairs. For railing mounted 42-inch high, use a 54-inch post at the bottom of the stairs. When final position is determined for the post, mark the 4 hole locations. Remove the post assembly and drill using the proper bit for the fasteners being used. Remount and fasten the post assembly, ensuring that the posts are plumb. Use shims or stainless steel washers to adjust if needed. Do not install the post base trim at this time. Lay the bottom rail on the stair from top to bottom adjacent to the installed posts. Make a level reference mark with a pencil on the bracket side of both the lower and upper posts at the point where the top of the rail meets the post. Install the post base trim. Based on the provided chart, measure up from the reference marks on the bottom of the post and mark using the value from the chart. This is the centerline mounting point for the bottom adjustable assembly. Using the chart, measure up from this line to mark centerline for top adjustable assembly. Place a mark 1 inch above and below the level line marks on the top and the bottom center lines for fastener locations. Drill holes and secure the top rail adjustable assembly using number 10 by 1 inch self-drilling screws at the marked locations. Repeat for the bottom rail adjustable assembly. Attach the saddle brackets to the top rail adjustable assembly using number 10 by 24 by 7/16 inch machine screws. On a flat surface, align the holes of the picket panel railings and place a mark at the midpoint on both the top and bottom rails. Place a mark 3/8 inch to the right of the center line on the bottom rail and place a mark 1/2 inch to the left of the center line on the top rail. These will be the new center line marks to determine cutting locations. Determine the rail length by measuring the distance between the parallel faces of the bottom rail adjustable assembly brackets. From the newly determined center lines, measure half the distance of the determined bottom rail length and place a mark both right and left of the center lines. These will be the cut marks for the bottom rail only. Shorten the top rail by an additional 3/8 inch to determine cut location of the top rail. Install support block connector. Using number 10 by 1 inch self-drilling screw to the underside of the bottom rail. Assemble the rail by inserting balusters into each baluster hole in the top rail. Use a rubber mallet to tap them in place until fully seated into the top rail. Insert balusters into the bottom rail starting at one end, tapping with a rubber mallet to secure balusters in place. Slide bottom brackets with screw holes down and counter bore holes facing toward the balusters over each end of the bottom rail. Slide bracket covers at least 3 to 4 inches inward over each end of the top rail. Place the rail assembly in place, nesting top brackets onto saddles. At support block connector locations, carefully measure the distance from the underside of the bottom rail to the floor or step. Cut support block material to fit. Slip the support block over support block connectors and slide the rail back into place, making certain the rail is plumb. Slide and hold the bottom brackets against the bottom rail adjustable assembly attached to the upper and lower post and secure with the number 1024 by 7/16 inch Phillips screws. Apply adhesive tab to flat top surface of the top rail near the post. Slide bracket covers to interlock with the flange on the saddle brackets. Screw mill finish number 10 by 1 inch self-drilling screws into the top rail from the underside of the saddle brackets through the provided locating hole to securely fasten the rail in place. For more information, visit wolfhomeproducts.com.